Hello and welcome to this video. Now in this video we're going to look at some basic text manipulations we can do on data. Now these are going to be just the basic ones. If you come to the formulas tab here, you will see we have a couple of functions in our function library. We have financial functions here, we have logical functions, we have text, we have date time functions, lookup, math and trig functions, and some more functions in statistics, engineering, and the rest of them. But what we are looking at are the most commonly used ones, because we cannot possibly look at all the functions that we have. The full length of this course will not be enough to cover that. So remember, I told you that if you want to see what a function does, you can come, for example, if you want to see what this function does here, you come and click on it, and then it will give you some kind of guide. So if you're trying to insert a function somewhere here, and you want to come and check it from the function library here, you can come, let's say we put this, and then it gives you like a guide. So it tells you join several strings into one string, text one, you put your text one, let's say this, text two, you put your text two, say this, and then this is what you're going to get here. So, and tells you the result of this formula. So if you want more help, you click on this and it will show you examples of this being done. So let's just look at a few text functions. In the previous videos, we looked at a few functions that work with numbers. So we looked at the sum, we looked at the max, we looked at the mean, and we looked at count and average. So let's look at some that are peculiar to text functions. So now I've gone ahead to create this. This is just a short data containing information containing staff info. So we have the staff ID here, we have the staff first name, we have the last name. So I want to do some basic manipulations just to show you some examples of how these text functions could work. So first off, let's see a way of putting this first name and last name together. Let's say I don't want them to be different this way, I want them to be together in one place. I can just come and use a text function called concatenate. So if you're using a newer version of, a more recent version of Excel, let's say if you're using Excel 2019, you might not see this concatenate, it might just be concat there. But I'm using Excel 2016, and that's because we notice that most people haven't moved to 2019 yet, they're still in 2016. So we decided to use 2016 to do this course. So if we use the concatenate function, what does this tell you to do? It gives you a hint there. So on the concatenate function there, it tells you that it accepts these arguments, text one, text two, and dot. That means there is more arguments you can put in. So I want to just join this text together where we have clear, which is my text one, reference that cell, goods, which is my text two, reference that cell, and I close my bracket. And when I click on enter, I have full name here. But wait a minute, there's a problem here. We see that it joined it as one word. This will make no sense to me. I want to be able to see it as different words. So I'll come back to this formula that I wrote here. And then what do? I need to add a delimiter between them. So to do that, I'm going to just add as a character an empty string and just put a space in there. So here I have what I'm doing, I'm joining this text and then a space and then this text together, and then click on this and you can see we have this here. Now there's another way to do this, and there is an operator that works for this if you want to just do this straight away. But the setback of that operator, if you use the ampersand sign, it will also achieve this for you. You see, it will also achieve this for you. But the setback is that, okay, you see here now that this gave us with the space, and that's because in this diary, in this first name, there was a space there already. So if I get rid of that, for example, see that I have no space in here. So one setback of this, of using the ampersand, is that if I want to join several texts, I'll have to put, let's say I want to join this, I want to add another text to this, I'll put an and. So I'll keep putting ands and ands until I'm done. And you can see, okay, let's look at that. Let's just look at that now. Okay, there's a typo there. Just hold on. This and this and this. So you put that. You see, you'll have to keep putting the ands and ands. So if you have multiple strings you want to join, you have to put the and. But for this one, we just had to reference each of them. So put this, put this, you put this, you put this, just referencing it without putting the and. But setback here is that you have to put the space as the delimiter, to show that that's what you're doing. So I've done this, and I want this to take effect all through down here. There's a feature that we have not talked about, which is the autofill feature. The autofill feature helps you to apply a certain formula that you have done somewhere across a range of cells. So if I come to the edge of this cell, this formula is correct. I come to the edge here, I click it and I drag down. You see that it's going to apply the same expression I did here, referencing all the cells. So if you look here, what we have here is concatenating D4 and E4. Then if we come down here, it went a step further, because now I did not lock it in that it should only reference these cells. It went the next line and started referencing D5, E5, and so on to D6, E6 to the last cell. So that's one way, one text function that you can look at. If we want to, let me create a new cell here. So let me say, if I want to, another text function that is really good to take note of is the upper function. Now what that does for you is that it will convert a text string to all uppercase. So if I want to look at this name here, all uppercase, see what it gives me? Clear glutes. If I do the autofill, the autofill can be done either by dragging, or if you just double click it, it autofills to the range that it can see. So this does this for us. That's great. Changing all of this to uppercase. If we want to change it to a lowercase, for example, let me just reference this one. If I want to change this to a lowercase, I come here, there's a function called lower. I click on this and I press enter, and you see I have lowercase. And if I drag it like 4 cells, you see it will reference every other thing up to that level. So we have lowercase expressions coming from there. So now what about in this case? Now remember, I don't want this to show me upper or lowercase. These are names, so the first and the last name should start with uppercase characters. So there's a function for that. It's called proper. So if I come here and I reference this and I put this in here, you see what we have? We have clear glutes. And you see what happened here? There's a formula that was already here. So that's why you see that when I put this, it still changed this to lower. But let me get rid of this because I'm not using that anymore. So if I click on this and drag down, you see that we have this autofill feature here, and it still affects this. So let me get rid of this so we don't have reference in there. So I've shown you a couple of characters, a couple of functions here. The uppercase to change the text to fully uppercase characters. The lowercase to change the text to fully lowercase characters. The proper, which changes the first character of a text to uppercase, And then we have a couple of ones that we might want to look at. So let's look at this here. If you see this staff ID here, we have the staff ID, and if you look at it, it comprises of the first letter of the first letters of the first and last name, CG. We have Clay Glute, CG. We have Darren Van Hoff, DV. We have Sean O'Donnell, SO, and Brosina Hoffman, BH. Now combines that with some numbers. So we're saying now that, well, let's assume now that this is the code for the staff name, and then it's this ID is the staff number. These numbers are the staff numbers. So combination of the staff name and with the delimiter dash, the hyphen and the staff number makes up the staff ID. Now I want to extract this first two letters of the word to put in the name code, and then this last 5 characters to put in staff number there. So there are some functions we can use to do that. I want to, looking at this, all the staff name codes are the first 2 characters, because one character from the first name, first character from the last name, giving us the staff, the name code. So there's an expression, a function that can help us extract this. So I'm going to, function name is left, and that returns the specified number of characters from the start of a text string. So when I put on left, and then I reference the cell that I want to return, and then the next argument there is the number of characters. I want it to return 2 characters for me, and once I enter that, you see that it extracts CG from here. If I use the autofill feature and drag down, see that it extracts CG, DV, SOBH, all that from there. What about if I want to do for the staff numbers? We'll look at it and see that, okay, our staff numbers, they have all 5 characters, at least for this list that we have here. So for this staff IDs we have here, so I'm going to use another function. It's called write. So it works just like the left, so it references a text and then returns number of characters from the right. So I want to return 5 characters because there are 5 numbers in all of them. And then I click on OK, and you see it gives me 12520. If I to fill that, you see that it returns everything plus the numbers. So there are a couple of other text functions that we could just look at very quickly. If you want to see the length of a string, your hair can just come. Let me put this here. The length of a string, use the len function, returns the number of characters in the text string. If I reference this here, and then I put this, you see that we have 11 characters inclusive of the space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the space 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 characters inclusive of the space in there. So if I drag this down, you see that I will be able to get for every single character we have 15, 14, and 15 here for each of these cells. See, this is referencing F6, is the F6. So on. So now if we want to do something like search within, let me get rid of this here. So I want to search within this cell and see if there's a character that is contained within it. So looking at Darin Van Hoff. Now if I want to see if Van is within this text, there is a function to use to do that. You come here and you use a function called find. So what does find do? It returns the starting position of one text string within another text string. So and find is case sensitive. So now within this text, let's say I want to look for Van. Is Van part of this? That's VAN. So remember that find is case sensitive. So if I put Van here, look at this, I put Van in there, and within which text I want to see whether it is within here. And the next argument is where should it start searching from? So what is the start number that you should start searching from? Let me just, since I want to search the whole text, I can just start searching from 1, and then I close that. I see what I'm having here. I'm having an error. It's telling me that it could not see, it could not return anything, and that's because find is case sensitive. If I should, you will see Van here in this name is VA and the V is uppercase, but here I put it as lowercase. If I should just change this in the formula to uppercase, you see that I have 8, and that's because if you search, start counting the characters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the space 7, 8 is where the V starts, and it's an uppercase character, and that is the number that it returns. So another formula that you could use to get this, okay, another thing with this formula is that where you will start searching from matters. So if I put the search to start searching from the 9th character, the 9th character is is A, see that we're going to still have an error, and that's because it will ignore everything up to the 9th character, and then from the 9th character, if that's searching where it can see a string VAN, and it will not see that, and that will return this error message that you have here. So to get around that, make sure that if you want to search the whole string, you start from the 1st character so that you will see what you're looking for. And remember, find is case sensitive. There is another one that is not so case sensitive, is the search. So if we use search here, the same arguments, you will see that we're going to get character, and that's because search is not case sensitive. So take note of those functions. They're very important. And then there's one more that I would like to bring to your notice. So let me type something here. I have Joseph here, and then I have James here. So now in these names, for example, in this Joseph, I'm going to add a couple of extra spaces, within, at the beginning and at the end here. So we have some extra spaces here. So if I try to see the length of this character, you will see that we will have, instead of 5, you will have 10, because there are 2 spaces before. Instead of 6, we'll have 10, because we have 2 spaces before and 2 spaces after. And a space is counted as a string, also as a character in a string. So 2 spaces before, 2 spaces after, plus the 6 characters of the main text gives us 10. So there's a function that you can use to trim this and get rid of any spaces that you have in between. So that function is called trim. If I reference this here and I put this, then try to get the length of this now. If I try to get the length of this now, see what we'll get. You see we have 6 characters, and 6 characters is what the length of the string is. So you see that there's a difference between the 2 strings. One is 10 and one is 6, the length, because we use the trim here to remove the extra spaces before the text and after the text. So this is 10 characters inclusive of the spaces, and then this is 6 characters. So far we have looked at a couple of functions. We have looked at the concatenate function. We have looked at the upper, which changes to an uppercase. We have looked at proper, which changes the first and the first characters of each word to an uppercase character. We have looked at the trim to remove trailing spaces before and after. We have looked at the left and the right to extract information from the text, whether from the specifying a number of characters, either from the left or from the right. We have looked at the length to get the length of a string. We have used find and search. Remember when we did the Darren Van Hoff here, search and find, where search is not case sensitive, but find is case sensitive. So these are just a few of the most common functions that you might be using. If you come to the text, the function library, there are a lot more functions there that you can look at to see what they do, and you can always come and check what those functions do. For example, looking at this, if I click on it, on the certain cell that I want to do it, I have this pop-up, and then it tells me what the function does, and tells me what each argument is. A text, what text do I want to repeat? I put this, click on the number, tells me what that argument is, and then tells me how to go about it. Now the number times argument is the positive number, specifying the number of times I want to repeat this text. I want to repeat it 5 times here, and it shows me what the result of that formula would be. And once I click OK, that result will be put here. If I put the help on this function, it will show me an example of this being used. Some examples created by Microsoft and the Microsoft Excel team to show me how this is being implemented in other scenarios. So if I click OK here, I have this here. So you can use that way to learn about some of these functions. I encourage you to go through all these functions, as many as you can, or the ones that you feel that you'll be using mostly. We have statistics, we have engineering, we have cube, we have information functions and all that. Now in the next video, we're going to look at some more advanced functions. I'll see you in the next video.